Hi, Darren here from 365 Assist. I found a solution to a problem I had with a model-driven app where I was trying to access Office 365 users and be able to send emails and approvals using that. But it wasn't quite straightforward getting those users in out of the Dataverse. So I actually had to use Power Automate to export those from 365 active users and put them into a table. So I just want to show you how I did that.
So here's my list of active users in my Microsoft 365 account, and what I'm trying to do is get the internal users into my Dataverse. Now I can't connect the model-driven app director here, so obviously I needed to have made a table to do that. So there's a list, and then just show you what I'm trying to achieve. So over here I have a model-driven app, quite a simple one with just a request and a name. You can use a Canvas app for this, obviously, but I'm trying to show you about the Dataverse more than the app itself. So the name in here is just a name, request one, but in here I've got a lookup that goes to that table I've created that goes to those list of users, and as you can see, they're internal users. And behind the scenes in the Dataverse here, I've just got the table Office users. The only columns I really have created is the name, the standard one, and the only other one I've got is email address. I'm going to need that email address, obviously, if I want to send approvals or emails to people. And then, over at the data, all I've got here is if I look at all the columns, you can just see I've got the 3 records I showed you before with the email address. So to bring the data across from that active list is just using a Power Automate. Not too difficult. There are a couple of tricky things I want to show you in here, but pretty easy. And it's 3 basic steps. So the first one is I've created as a scheduled one. So for instance, you probably want to run this on a weekly basis because you have new users or updated users. You want to update that table. So I'm running this on a weekly basis, this Power Automate. And the first component of this is just deleting all the users that are already in the user table. So we want a clean slate before we add them in again, otherwise we'll have duplicates being created. So pretty easy to do. You just delete all the users by listing the rows of the Office users in that table that I've created, and for each one of those you're just deleting a row. Right, so it's just looking through all the users in that table and just going through and deleting the row one by one. So that's pretty easy. The next bit's a little bit more tricky when you add the users to the table. So the first thing you want to do is go out to the Office 365 and search for users. It's a pretty simple action here. You don't have to add anything into it because you're looking for every single user. There's no mandatory fields in this one, so you can just leave it as it is, and it will go along and search for every single user. And so for each of those users that it looks, there's some action, and this is where a little bit of the trick has to come into play. So what I've got is a condition on here, and there are 3 important conditions, and they need to be done pretty much in this order. The first one is the critical one. The first one is the email address in the user list is not equal to null. There are some users in the admin center and the active users that do not have an email address. They could be external users, they could be system users, so you do not want to bring them in without an email address, and you need to do that first. If you don't do that, then it'll get upset with some errors because it can't find anything with an email address. And this is to do with the second piece, because the second piece I need to be able to just bring in the internal users, and so how I do that is an email address that ends with my domain name. So I need to have that first one to clear out the null ones, and then the second one to get that internal one, and then the third one is just making sure that any users I have are active by having the account enabled is equal to true. Once I've got that condition and they're all true, then what we do is pretty easy. Just add a new row, and in my case I've just added the email address and the name of the person, and that populates the table. So it's pretty simple. So I hope that helped you.